Welcome to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Coster with John Kremer. One of the things I've noticed about your Talking Diaries is that it really seems like you're singing a song or writing the song, and that you keep coming back to things. And part of that comes back to, you're using language to describe something that is in some sense not capturable by language, but yet there is a power and magic to language. And what is that power?
That is an extremely interesting question. In fact, the question goes to the heart of the matter. What is the power of language? And the way I like to say it is that what what is the power and what is the magic of language? If you come to think of it, it's actually quite extraordinary. You could say that language, by its unique features, has got the capacity to create a perceived object of experience. So what I mean with that is that when we speak, when you speak, there is the immediate experience of something. And that is what language does. It creates, you could say, the illusion of an object of experience, or it creates a perceived object of experience. And what is so interesting about that is, so if you look at it, if you look at how we speak ourselves in language, there's first the subject and then there is the predicate. So language, by its unique features, and a lot has got to do, of course, with grammar, how a sentence is formed is that there is first the predicate, which points to being, and then there's the subject. While when we speak, there's first the subject and then there's a predicate. So you could see that easily when you don't give that any well, let's say if you're not aware of it, you can see how easy it is to get entrapped in the construct of language where you identify yourself with the perceived. While in the formation of a sentence, so to speak, there is first the verb, or that which points to being, and then there is a subject. And that is actually where the dilemma is, since once you are hooked in a thought, so to speak, and the thought starts out with I and then fill in the blank, what it actually, the experience that it gives you is that you are what you are experiencing. And that may not be necessarily true. In fact, that is an illusion. And that is the illusion that language creates. And so that's how we get caught up in the dream of the thinking. So that is
In your diary, you talk about it, that language, basically creates separation. You become essentially a separate self or not. But you're saying I, and then you're talking about something out there in the world, and those two things are disconnected.
so I really like the way you say that. That is indeed what is happening, is that language creates the illusion of a separate self. So, and that's the experience of I. So you say, I am having this experience. And the moment that you really get into that, like you identify yourself with that I that is having the experience, you are no longer in touch with your true being, with your true self. And that is also the power of language, is that when that happens, there is not even the awareness that you have removed yourself from your true self. It and that is what happened. That is the work of a magician. The magician has you look at something that draws your attention, while in fact something else is happening in some other place that is really, or that is the real action. And the real action is that once you start engaging yourself with the thinking, the real action, so to speak, is that you have lost the awareness of your true self. And then at some point, so there is um, so when you don't know that you don't know, then that is how you experience the world. And yeah.
But in the what in your diary entry, you talk about not just the power of the language, but also the magic of language. And I presume that in some way, because of what you're doing with your diary, that there's a way for language to bring you back home.
Oh, that's excellent. So so you could say that language creates a duality of experience. So it gives you actually the experience of having an I that is having an experience of the world. So that is duality. And now, when a thought arises, that gives you that experience. You have an experience of yourself, and then the experience of a world that is separate from you. Now, this begs the question: how can you transcend this, or how can you pierce through the illusion of the thinking? How to become aware of your true being? Basically, that is the question. And so, what is interesting, and that is what I discovered in this experiment that I did of allowing for the totality of what is arising as my thoughts in my consciousness without any exception, and then see where that leads me to, is that at some point, now I'm speaking not just thoughts like pleasant thoughts, but there may be thoughts that are uncomfortable, or let's say unwanted, or something like that. When I allow for the totality of them, and then at some point come in a place where I experience them exactly as they are, they disappear. That is to say, it loses its hold over me. The spell of the duality is broken. There is, and what comes with it is a simple notion, like there was just a thought, and what was there before of the thinking that was shaping my experience with all of its possible consequences. Like, one consequence would be that then it starts to escalate, the mind starts to feed on itself, etc., etc. So you kind of arrest the mind in its movement when you let it be, when you allow for the totality of it. And then when you are in this place that you can just see it for what it is, it disappears. The dual nature of it dissolves. And instead, what's there is the awareness, the understanding that it was just a thought. And like with anything in life, you can move on. It's no longer something that is an issue that is driving your attention. Then you can give attention to what really matters to you. That is a magical experience.
Thank you for listening to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Koster. For more information, check out louiscoster.com Talking Diaries, and subscribe to the Talking Diaries YouTube channel. Also check out louiscoster.com/quiz and take the free quiz to discover more about yourself.